What is going on, guys? It is Wrestlelamia here, back with some more news. Join us now as Wrestlelamia looks at the wildest wrestling news stories and rumors you need to know, including The Rock's daughter undergoing surgery, Roman Reigns gave Braun Strowman his blessing, Brock Lesnar in Bellator, another promotion contacted Rusev besides AEW for a deal, Chris Jericho wants this WWE superstar in AEW, Batista criticizes The Rock and John Cena's acting career, and much more. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos and follow us on Facebook for exclusive lists. Now let's hit the intro and get straight into the first story. Now our first story looks at which promotion contacted Rusev after he left WWE. And we know he's now in AEW, but All Elite Wrestling wasn't the only promotion interested in him. According to him, Impact Wrestling approached him after his WWE release. Speaking via his Twitch stream, he briefly discussed the offer, saying, "It had nothing to do with COVID, I just didn't want to go to Impact. They were very kind, they reached out, I just needed some time." Where would you have preferred Rusev? In AEW, Impact Wrestling, or back in the WWE? Let us know in the comments down below. Next up, does Chris Jericho still talk to Vince McMahon? Chris Jericho fields a number of questions during his Saturday Night Special YouTube show, one of them being whether he still speaks with his old boss Vince McMahon. Le Champion said he not only speaks with Vince, but with a number of other stars, including
I talk to Kevin Owens, I still text Seth Rollins once in a while. Couple of guys in NXT, Drake Maverick, Samoa Joe, Drew McIntyre, those types of guys. Talk to Edge from time to time. I talk to Vince from time to time. But as far as like someone you talk to every day, not really, because we're all in different planes and different worlds and different areas. But much respect and love to all of them there, all of them.
While AEW and WWE are competitors, it's good to see big names from each company keeping things friendly. Or that is until they're beating them in the ratings. Next up, Chris Jericho wants this WWE superstar in AEW. Also during his YouTube show, a fan said he'd love to see Samoa Joe in AEW, to which Jericho replied,
"What do you think about Samoa Joe? I would love to see him in AEW. So would I. I don't know if Joe is hurt right now or if he's not feeling good. But I'll tell you what, man. He is just an amazing wrestler. He's a great talker and just a hell of a guy as well. I would love to have him in AEW. But I don't know if he wants to go. I mean, he might be hurt, and he's a great commentator as well. So if he's going to come into AEW and steal my possible commentating job, then forget that.
Do you think Samoa Joe would thrive in AEW? Again, let us know in the comments down below. Next up, Batista criticizes The Rock and John Cena's acting career. A former World Heavyweight Champion Dave Batista is an actor who is looking to perform in roles that test his acting chops, something he seems to think Dwayne The Rock Johnson and John Cena don't do, as they both star in the same kind of films, action movies and comedies. Batista told the Tampa Bay Times, "Do not compare me to The Rock or John Cena. Everyone does it, and he hates it. Those guys are wrestlers who became movie stars. I'm something else. I was a wrestler, now I'm an actor." What do you guys think in terms of acting ability? Who's better, The Rock, Batista, or John Cena? Again, let us know in the comments down below. Sorry to bombard you with so many questions. Next up, The Rock's daughter Simone is undergoing surgery. It looks like Dwayne The Rock Johnson's daughter Simone Johnson has had a slight setback in her dream of a WWE career. Simone Johnson recently tweeted, "So tomorrow I'm having knee surgery for the third time. As not fun as surgery is, I'm looking forward to my knees not popping out anymore. That said, please send me video game suggestions, movie suggestions, preferably scary, or anything else to help pass the time. If she needs any help sleeping, we could suggest WWE's 1995 DVD collection." But other than that, Simone is currently training with the WWE Performance Center and could become wrestling's fourth-generation superstar. For now, she'll have to focus on her recovery and hope she can get back into training as soon as possible. We'd like to send our wishes for a speedy and full recovery. Next up, Roman Reigns gave Braun Strowman his blessing. Braun Strowman caught a fantastic break this year when Roman Reigns decided to self-quarantine in the midst of the pandemic, missing out on his Universal Championship opportunity against Goldberg, and the Monster Among Men got Roman's spot and the championship. During a recent episode of WWE Chronicle, Strowman discussed Reigns talking with him and asking him to become a locker room leader. He mentioned, "Roman called me and talked about what was going on and almost gave me the proverbial nod, like, hey, it's your time to drive the bus, go do work." While it's unknown whether Strowman rose to become a leader, he did an admirable job as champion. Next up, WWE's changing plans for Asuka. With Clash of Champions just 2 weeks away, the WWE appears to be uncertain about Raw Women's Champion Asuka's opponent for the pay-per-view. According to the recent Wrestling Observer, Asuka vs Baszler was originally the women's title match slated for this show, but who knows with all the changes made, because unless Baszler and Jax lose the tag titles beforehand, that's less likely. It could be Natalya since she was in discussions for a title shot a few times, but it never materialized, especially if Baszler and Jax vs Morgan and Riot is saved for the pay-per-view show. Asuka is defending the title against Mickie James tonight on Raw, and the WWE could set up an angle for a rematch between the two at Clash of Champions, or see a post-match segment involving Natalya to set up Asuka versus her instead. While Natalya should put on a great performance against the Empress of Tomorrow, unfortunately, right now, she's not a credible enough challenger. Next up, Kurt Angle reveals the deals he turned down from WWE. Kurt Angle was released from the WWE along with a number of other backstage personnel on what they called a Black Wednesday, but according to wrestling's Olympic hero, he was later offered a number of roles to stay in the promotion. Angle chatted with the Wrestling Inc. Daily podcast and explained the potential jobs, including managing. Matt Riddle, that was a few months ago. They offered me another job coaching. They also offered me a Legends deal. We weren't able to get a contract done, but I'm cool with WWE. We're in good terms. There's no bad blood. Every once in a while they'll call me to use me for something. I did a couple appearances on television in the last few months. Today they have me do an ad for one of their sponsors, so I did the ad for them. So they still reach out to me, I'm just not under contract, and I kinda like that. Right now, Angle is busy managing his nutrition company, Physically Fit. Right now, the WWE Hall of Famer seems to be doing well with his business and says he's done working in the ring. Next up, Brock in Bellator. A recent statement by Bellator MMA president Scott Coker shows that UFC isn't the only option for Brock Lesnar in MMA. A recent report by Wrestling News' Andrew Ravens suggests that Bellator is interested in a Lesnar vs Fedor Emelianenko bout. He noted, "The situation with Brock Lesnar is, I don't know if he's a free agent. I don't know if he wants to fight. I don't know what his situation is. I reached out and talked to them and said, hey, if Brock wants to fight Fedor, we could have that guy who could be the fight that never happened. We'll see if that happens. We'll see if that's something he's serious about. Only Brock knows." While it's unknown if Brock Lesnar is a free agent, you can be certain that he'd command top dollar in UFC or Bellator if he chooses to return to MMA. Next up, which WWE legend inspired broken Matt Hardy? Matt Hardy has reinvented himself several times during his career to keep himself relevant, with his most popular persona being his Broken Matt Hardy character. Hardy spoke with Chris Van Vliet recently about which WWE legend inspired him to try his hand at the bizarre and broken incarnation that got over so well with fans. Well, I mean, that's why the whole Broken Matt Hardy character was created in the first place. Because thinking back and looking at the landscape of things, all these young guys that are 25 to 35 that are in super top shape, super athletic and super healthy in so many ways, and they don't have their body covered with scar tissue like mine is. When I was thinking about those characters, I said, what if I could do a throwback to the days of Papa Shango, the days of The Undertaker, trying to create a character that's somewhat magical, somewhat over the top, and that was the whole mindset. What's ironic about Matt's comments is that he continues to take some wild bumps in and out of the ring despite closing in on his 46th birthday and, as he said, being covered in scar tissue. While his broken character has allowed him to scale things back, he may need to scale things back even further if his recent injury at All Out is any indication of what he sees as a safe style to work. And finally, a Sonya Deville case update. Philip Thomas II, the man who allegedly attempted to take WWE superstar Sonya Deville hostage, has pled not guilty for the various charges filed against him. According to an exclusive report by Heel by Nature, on 3rd September, his public defender filed a plea on his behalf with the 13th Judicial Circuit Court in Hillsborough County, Florida. The filing was made ahead of an arraignment scheduled for 9th September. The notice of appearance filing included a written plea of not guilty on all charges he faced. And boy, there are a number of charges, some things that we can't obviously say in a YouTube video. Now, Thomas could be going away for a long time, and while there's no telling whether a long sentence would deter other stalkers, it would keep Thomas off the streets and away from Deville. But there you have it guys, the wildest wrestling news stories and rumors you need to know. Be sure to leave your comments down below, subscribe if you haven't already, follow us on Instagram and Facebook for exclusive lists, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.